Hey everybody, hope that you're doing well. I'm going to do a love pick a card reading, okay? So this will be for any of you that are in some kind of situationship, some kind of relationship, and maybe you're wondering what's going on, or are there issues, are there things that you're wondering about, and if so, you just need some clarity or some guidance. That's what this is about. So focus on the imagery. Okay, first pile we've got courage. Okay, wolves howling, standing strong. Does that pile resonate for you? Are you drawn to that one? That'll be pile number 1. Pile number 2, this one is non-attachment. Sorry, the writing was a little small on that. Non-attachment. Non-attachment. Does that resonate with you? That'll be pile 2. And the third one is surrender. Okay, does that one resonate more for you? Feel free to pause the video, give it a few minutes, and when you come back and you're ready, go ahead and hit play again, and I'll go through the readings. Awesome. So, for those of you who have chosen pile number 1, courage, let's see what we've got. Okay, so okay. Right. Okay, so what I've got for you all is retreat, but it's in reverse. It's time to disconnect from the world. There's some defensiveness happening here, and there is some struggle. I'm seeing the Wounded Warrior as well as the Knight of Swords in reverse, which can also indicate drama. There could be a lack of balance, and the way that this individual is looking at the Six of Pentacles is that something is out of balance because of some give and take. Perhaps one is doing a lot more in the connection than the other, and no matter what they do, it's never good enough, right? For example, I was with somebody once, and I would race home on my lunch hour, and I would cook him lunch so he'd have it fresh every day. And one day he was just like being arrogant, and he basically said, "Ugh, this doesn't taste, or the pasta isn't cooked enough." I had finally had enough of doing so much in that connection, trying to make him happy, that I went ahead and I picked up the plate and I threw it in the garbage and walked out. No lie. So what was happening was I was consistently, and here's the obstacle, which is penchants to dream. 8, so the card is 28, so 8 plus 2 is 10, which is endings. So you also have, for advice, surrender to the wisdom of your body. And this says, listen to your body's messages about a person or situation. If you feel physically drained or uncomfortable, be cautious. If you are energized and happy, move forward. Because this came up in reverse, and this penchants to dream and a completion, I feel like whatever the fighting is about, and maybe it's just even a cruelty of their words, or maybe they're just a little too bold and brash, and they are too domineering, too controlling. They want things their way. Maybe they criticize you, and you're trying so incredibly hard to make things work. I think that what's happening is that you haven't retreated enough to really take a look at the lack of balance in the situation. You've been hurt from all that you've given in this connection. But the thing is that you're not taking that time out away from this person, because again, you might be doing so much for them whilst they do very little for you, or meanwhile you're trying to balance life, whatever be the circumstances, maybe the kids, the job that you work, family, friendships, you're trying to keep it all in balance, but yet this person seems to think that you're there to serve them in some way, shape, or form. And something tells me that the reason why you picked this deck is because there's something inside that's been telling you, okay, you know, it's not getting better. It's not getting better. Something needs to change here. So if you surrender to the wisdom of your body and you listen clearly, that's your internal warning system saying something is not right here. Something has to change. So the beautiful thing is that the outcome is courage, affirmation. I found the courage to continue in the face of adversity and challenge. There it is, Knight of Swords. So if this person is a conflictive personality, argumentative personality, they don't think before they speak, they could be very selfish, but again, this is about drama, always causing drama. Could be an air sign, a Libra, Aquarius, or a Gemini. It doesn't have to be, but that's what's associated in terms of astrological signs. However, it is more or less somebody who's drawing on their earth energy, but the negative aspects of such, or sorry, not their earth, their air energy, and the negative aspects of such. And this could actually be manifesting because of the fact that someone may want something to go a certain way or be a certain way. But the problem is that instead of listening to themselves, that they're not comfortable in this situation anymore, and they just keep taking it or putting up with it. What's happening is that you could be the one who's lashing out. Maybe you're lashing out because you're just so frustrated already with how much you've done, and you don't like what it is that you're feeling, and no matter how much you're dreaming of things to get better, it's just not happening. So again, we go back to courage. And it says, I will continue in the darkness despite negative entities and thought forms that attempt to bring me down. The new moon cycle is not illuminated as the full moon. So connect with your inner wolf. As your power animal, this wolf howls at the new moon. Okay? So this is coming in and trying to find some courage. And that could even be what this card says too. It's just that you're not feeling the courage in this connection to stand up for what you believe in or what it is that you need to address within this situation. Instead, you're taking a back seat and you're just dreaming about things changing, right? But that's okay, because not everybody likes conflict either. However, for those of us that find fear with conflict, we don't step up and we don't address the issue. And if the issues aren't addressed because of a lack of courage, then things don't change and we continue to be used, taken advantage of, or even if our partner isn't using us or taking us for granted or taking advantage of situations, it's the fact that we continue to store up all of these resentments, right? Each wand is like each time that maybe you had other things to do, but you put it off to please them, right? You see how one's begging for attention and money and the other one is getting it? It's like Spirit is telling you now is time to have the courage, all right? You've got the courage to continue in the face of adversity and challenge. You're going to continue. And I think that some of you are now, this is going to help look at the ways in your connection in which you allow yourself to be taken advantage of. For example, are the resentments, are you not able to spend the time self-care, like in self-care? Are you allowed to have a bath? Or are the responsibilities always so much, do you always have to jump when they call? If you're dating somebody, it's like, oh, you know, they don't let you know ahead of time. And as much as you want to see them, it's like they call you and they're like, hey, let's meet now. I had a partner like that too, and it was ignorant. It's like, you know what? I have a life too, and I have things that I need to get done, but I would always put it off. And then I'd get behind on my things because it was like, well, he was available here now. And if you want to see me, it's now. It was just, you know, all of these things lead, believe it or not, to resentment. So really take a good look at what it is and then have the courage to speak up and say, look, this needs to change or this needs to stop now, right? Because it's about balance in a connection. So that's what I got for pile number 1. I hope that it resonated for you guys, and I hope that it helped provide some insight into the situation. And now we'll be moving on to pile number 2. I'm just going to pause it for a second so I can clear up the cards. Thanks, everybody. So for those of you that resonated with pile number 2, non-attachments, let's see what we have going on. Non-attachment. Surrender your fear of change. Forgetting oneself. Honeymoon in reverse. King of Cups. 2 of Wands in reverse. And the Ace of Swords upright. Okay. So it looks as though it's possible that the honeymoon phase may have ended in a connection. Maybe you're not familiar with what that is, but that's that initial excitement and joy and spark where you're feeling all lovey-dovey, everything is going exceptionally well, you couldn't be happier, you're feeling loved, you're feeling cared about, you're feeling supported, maybe even feeling close to your partner, all of those good things, right? And that usually comes during that high period, the beginning. It's that new love high, if you will. And it could last a long time. For some it can last years, for some it can last a week, for some it could last a day, depending on who they are. But I'm getting this feeling like possibly that you're sensing a bit of a change, and that change could be worrying you a little. You could be wondering, you know, has this person closed up in their emotions? Have they stopped sharing as much? Are they not communicating as much? What is happening? It's like something is feeling off, or maybe not as exciting anymore. And in the center here, you've got the 2 of Wands, but the 2 of Wands is showing up in reverse. So the thoughts could be there's distraction or a dead end or a mistake or predictable or pessimistic or someone with an inflated ego or not thinking ahead or someone who's disinterested or unfinished business or too serious, held back, tied down, deciding to stay. I think some of you are in this thought process right now because the Ace of Swords is about thinking and communication. You could be wondering, do I stay? What's changed here? This person doesn't have the interest in me anymore. But yet some of you could be fearing physical change or a fear of making a wrong decision or tired of waiting for others to act, okay? Maybe someone's feeling here that the other person just acts now as they want. They're not showing up as how they initially did in the beginning stages where everything was beautiful. So I think that some clarity is being found here in this situation. Maybe some of you are thinking, did I make the wrong choice? Maybe one person in the connection is being too pushy with what they want now because perhaps the life part is starting to settle back in, meaning, you know, in the beginning where you're hanging out every day, calling each other every day, texting all of the time. I'm getting this feeling like from these cards, and especially this fear of change as well, which is also backed up by this 2 of Wands in reverse, I think that it's just a change in the connection. I feel like the individual still loves you, still wants to be with you, but it's possible that they could be distracted in terms of work or dealing with whatever it is that they're dealing with, okay? There could also be a situation where maybe someone is feeling almost like conflict about what direction this connection is headed into. Okay, so if some of you haven't actually had the discussion yet where you've clarified what you're going to be, It's like, okay, we've been hanging out, but now what? You know? So in this, I feel like it's important to realize that you're going to get some clarity, and it could be through communication with this person. Like, look, I feel like things have changed. I want to know if we're still happy, or are we still doing this? Are we moving towards a relationship? You know, I just feel like some discussion needs to be had here, but also it's very important to surrender that fear of change, being that the universe is reminding you that you are cared for always. Whether you're afraid of a change in your job, your health, or a relationship, or if you fear aging or death, repeat the affirmation, I have faith that all is well. Also, forgetting oneself, card number 17. I think what's important with this is the blockage is that depending on how long this honeymoon phase did go on, perhaps, you know, you got so used to the happiness and the high that came with it. Maybe you stopped talking with your friends. Maybe you stopped talking with your family. Maybe you stopped doing the things that made you happy as an independent person, like whatever hobbies you may have. Maybe you stopped going for coffee. Maybe you stopped going out dancing. Maybe when the honeymoon period wore off, it's possible that you even stop taking care of yourself. Maybe you don't even bother doing your hair or dressing up anymore because you feel like, what does it matter? They don't notice me anyways. I think that this is just basically about getting back to yourself and accepting that this is a natural part of relationships. It moves into a more loving, stable connection in which we don't have to worry anymore, or we don't have to continuously check in all of the time, or continuously talk all of the time, or continuously be with each other all the time. That you can start being together but apart. Does that make sense? It's like instead of being dependent on each other, you're interdependent, meaning you have your own things that you like to do, but you still make time for each other. So I feel like that's what's happening, is just somebody's just getting a little slightly worried, like what's happening? What's happening? And because the king is outward focused, I feel like if you were drawn to this pile, that you're seeing it like a change with your partner, and now you're worrying, like, did I make a mistake getting involved in this? But no. I feel like there will be some clarity and there will be some communication, and maybe that's all it is. Maybe you just need to communicate with the person, like, is everything good? Are we still happy? Is there anything you need? Is there anything that you want? How are things going for you? And maybe that'll open up that connection again, right? And make you feel closer and more bonded to the individual that you're dealing with. And the advice is non-attachment. The practice of non-attachment provides comfort in the impermanence of all things. Practice the art of not attaching to a person, event, or outcome. Isn't that so spot on here? It's like, don't worry about whether this is going to turn into a relationship. Don't worry about what the other person is doing. Don't have this attachment to a specific outcome. Get back to the days of where it was just fun and enjoying being together and enjoying just having somebody there. But most importantly, to do that would be to start getting back in touch with yourself and the things that you love. Okay? Now, if this isn't for you, it could be the person that you're dealing with. So either or. Non-attachment, that is what your intent is going to be. That's going to help you so that you're not so focused on the shifts in the connection. Because I don't feel that anything is wrong here. I just feel that it's just a simple shift in the relationship. That's all it is. It's just getting to that secure place where you don't have to call every minute of the day or text every minute of the day. It's just getting to that point where it's like yay, you've got the person, you love each other, but you can also do your own things too, right? And that's how you find that happy balance. And the problem is we just get too high and too excited in that beginning. So it's just simply shifting into being okay with how things are evolving, okay? So non-attachment. Awesome. I'm going to get into the third deck, so I'm just going to pause this for a second while I clean these up, and I shall be right back. Beautiful. So, for those